A lot of relationships have suffered in one way or another due to so many different issues that spring up at different points in time. Little do they know that there are solutions to their problems. They're not too far away. Relationship coach Stephen Omojuigbe is here to tell us the different ways to get information and, of course, use them to strengthen our relationships. Welcome back.
Thank you, Titi. Nice to be here.
We've had quite a few powerful discussions, you know, on Wake Up Nigeria with you. And it always feels like, you know, there's always something new to learn.
Absolutely.
When it comes to relationships, I've actually wondered why it is that so many of them are not succeeding. You know, I don't want to say so many of them are failing, and so many of them are not succeeding. And I feel like there's a reason why. Can you give us some insight into that?
Okay, so interesting way you brought that up. First thing, I believe that every single marriage can work.
Okay.
There is no marriage that is bound to fail if you put in the right ingredients.
Okay.
So let me tell you a short story, very funny one. Okay. So it's Tuesday, it's around 11 p.m. It's 3 days after I got married.
Okay.
And we are on the bed, we're about to sleep. I get a call from my ex-girlfriend's sister.
Okay.
And she says, hey, your friend is in distress, she's crying, you need to come and see her.
Okay.
And I get off the bed, get into my clothes, get into my car, and drive off to see my ex-girlfriend. And I'm there till 2 a.m.
Okay.
And I come back home, I meet a sobbing, distressed wife who is like, who does that? And I'm like, I'm the guy who wants to be a hero for somebody. If somebody needs me, I go to be with them.
Okay.
I had no clue that you're not supposed to do that as a married man. Yeah. So a lot of marriages are failing because people just don't know how to be married. They have no idea what to do when it comes to communication. Like I usually say, women get under something they are not on top of. They don't know who a man is. They don't know what a man's needs are. Men get married having not been schooled at all about the institution. Sometimes when I do these workshops I do for men, I take a poll in this class. How many of you, as a guy, sometime in your life, before you got married, your dad, or anybody for that matter, sat you down and say, hey, let me talk to you about women? Okay. And usually it's about 2% of the people in the class.
Wow.
And for women, because I also do women's workshop, it's a bit better. It's also about 20% of people in the class who say, I have a man in my life who has coached me, who's trained me about the world of men, who has initiated me into what a man's world is. Okay. So lots of people will do better if they know better. Okay. They just have no clue. And the interesting thing is that you can't learn, you can be trained, you can develop. Honestly, for the human being, we are learning machines. Okay. So you see a little boy is born, he's completely helpless. He's lying on the bed. He can't even turn himself. He wheels something on himself. He pulls on himself. But then 2 years later, he has learned to walk. 1 year later, he has learned to run. And 3 years later, he can ride a bicycle. Okay. And then another 2 years later, he can raise his hand on the bicycle and do flips. Yeah. And another 4 years, he's learning to add figures. He can do X times X. He's doing algebra. Yeah. This helpless little tot is now a master at several things because he's being trained, he's being developed.
And there's been an opportunity to learn.
To learn. He has had teachers, he had coaches, he had models who showed him how to do this stuff. And now he can handle himself. Think about the first time you drove.
I don't want to let myself out there because I'm not one of those people that drive. Okay. But I'm thinking about it from this perspective. There are a lot of people that are successful in other areas like business, but usually it's because they've gone through some sort of training or they've been able to be mentored by someone.
Absolutely.
Are you comparing the institution of marriage to, for instance, working in a financial institution where I have to go for certain courses before I can get to certain levels?
Tell me anything in this life that is important that does not require that you develop or train yourself.
Okay.
Who wants to go to the hospital of a doctor who hasn't gone to school? Who wants to go to mechanic who has not been trained? Okay. There's nothing, absolutely nothing in this world that is worth doing, that has great value to life, that you do naturally. Every single of those things, you have to learn them, you have to be trained in them, you have to be mentored in them, you have to be coaching them. Marriage is not different. Relationships are not different. Lots of mistakes that are destroying marriages. can be trained out. You can develop yourself out of those things.
Okay, so I'm thinking about before marriage now. So obviously before you know, achieve all these things, you've done the educating or the learning beforehand. So I'm thinking of marriage counseling now. The ones that the religious institutions put together. You know, in church, your pastor calls you, sits you down. Are they on the same page with what you are talking about? Or are you going further?
It's a beautiful thing what churches and mosques do in terms of preparing people for marriage, because I am also involved in that process. But you know what happens is that most times people have decided they're going to get married, they've chosen a marriage date, and they come to those classes and it's just a formality, really.
It's just formality. Let's just go so that they'll give us this.
Yeah, they wouldn't wed them in church if they don't go to do classes.
Okay.
So there's very little impact in that.
Okay.
What you usually see is that, yes, they get married and then they begin to experience the reality of marriage.
Okay.
That's when the true learning starts. So what I do, and I've been doing this for about 12 years now.
Okay.
3 days after my wedding, I said I was in my girlfriend's house. 1 week after, I decided this marriage is not for me. I had what they call buyer's remorse. You know how you go, you know how you go to a store, you think you got a deal, then you get home, you're like, I need to return this dress. I'm like, how did I get here? Little did I know that the problem was mine, okay? And then, but because I had decided I was going to be married for once only in my life, I will never get divorced. I knew I had to find out what it takes to get married. Okay. And so this journey for me started of talking to coaches, of training myself. And I come from that experience and a lot of trainings that I have done myself. And that's what I offer to people.
Okay, fantastic. I need to know if there's any training coming up next. I have a friend that's actually about to get married, and I think she should come and see you. You do this as a group or groups of people, or is it one-on-one?
Yes, I do. I do one-on-one coaching, but I have a seminar coming up. It's called Master Your Life Seminar. Okay. All right, so there are 3 things everybody needs. If you want to change any area of your life for that matter, you need a vision, you need a desire. Okay. You need to want it. But then beyond wanting it, you need to have intentionality. You need to be determined. Because for all your desires, if you don't put effort into it, you get frustrated. But then you can have the desire, you can be intentional, you can have the effort. If you don't have the know-how, if you don't have the resources, the means, you're still going to fail. Okay. Know-how is where I excel because I know how to be married now. I have a wonderful relationship, I have a wonderful marriage, and I know how to transform the mind and emotions. So this seminar is called Master Your Life. It focuses on mind and emotions, marriage and relationships, and business and career. And it's happening on the 10th of March.
Okay, I'm going to go and look for more details online myself. But please, if you have any questions on what we're talking about today, you can always send us an email. That's wakeupnigeria@tvcontinental.tv. Or you could tweet to us at TVC Connect with the hashtag WakeUpNigeria. We'll make sure he gets to answer some of your questions next time.